So on the draw against a Gigantha, the one laner, I've got a mulligan. Maybe cut one Stirrings, plays 2 Saga, could be explored later iteration. Yeah, you could play some Sagas. I'll say that I think it makes sense to me to not play Urza Saga, especially with all the moon effects. And we got moon twice last league. Or we got Harbinger, not Blood Moon, but you know what I mean? Like, there's so many of these effects. And to some extent, it's just like, you know, almost every deck I've ever built that doesn't have Urza Saga, even if Saga makes no sense in the deck, people will suggest Urza Saga. So I am somewhat resistant to to the card for that reason too, maybe. Oh, but yeah, obviously Saga could be a fine included. Opponents on a mulligan to 5 on the play. We're gonna mull to 6 on the draw. We haven't played the mono green Sire Eldrazi deck yet, but I don't know. Like, I was like just too excited about like the Woodland deck yesterday, the Simic Woodland deck. That one I think was a big breakthrough, an awesome deck. This deck also I think is super exciting, super fresh, super interesting. I don't know. I'm kind of in love with this deck, so I don't know if we're gonna get to that one today. But we'll have it in the queue. You're confident that we have enough card draw that 4 Fleshraker is enough. Walking Ballistic Bombardment feels like a 5th Fleshraker to me. We don't need it when we have everything, it's true, but isn't the goal of these inclusions to have more chance to hit a win card? Hope this makes sense. I mean, I understand like kind of how you've come to this conclusion, but I don't know how many different ways I can say this, so hear me. Cards like Goblin Bombardment and Walking Ballista, you cannot call them a 5th Fleshraker. Because these cards are only good. They're only good when you have a ton of mana and you have a ton of resources. When do you have a ton of mana and a ton of resources? When you have some combination of Precursor and Fleshraker. These are enablers and payoffs. If your Fleshraker dies, you can breach it back. You do not need a card like this. There is no need for it. I hope that saying it in this way is clear, and I don't know how many other ways I can really try to articulate this. Okay, I think I'm going to rumble this turn instead of playing the Precursor. They let you win if Fleshraker gets Surgical. That is not a good enough reason to include it in the deck, in my opinion. Can I afford to take second Precursor? So I'm going to have 5 mana to start off with. This is the 6th. Yeah, I can play the second one. I might just be dead, but we'll see. Not a great matchup to lose the die roll in. 7 played Surgical. We did have our Fleshraker Surgical last league. We did also win that game. What if your 1 card to generate card advantage for 4 mana was the 1 ring instead of Forge? I think the first Forge is better than the first ring in this deck. Zach, so the 47 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Like, the first Forge has the potential to, like, draw through your entire deck and, like, be this deterministic combo kill, and you can dig for it with Kozilek's command. You know what I mean? Alright, we're gonna take this hit here. Down to 11, they've got 3 cards in their hand. They show me a Karplusan Forest to Ragavan. But anyway, it's just a one of, so, and I just think the first Forge is better than the first ring. Oh, no. Sorry, I should have on F6, but okay, I did on F6 in time. But I should have sacked this in response. We are kind of weak to Bowmaster. So I want to play this instead, because the 3/3 blocks better. 2 cards in their hand. Hopefully they don't also have a bolt. Just reading. A lot of readers for Skittering Precursor today. Said Magic Online is also causing them some troubles, which is very, very relatable. So comboing off next turn is going to be hard without a grinding station. Usually it wouldn't be too tough, but the Bowmaster is going to really throw a wrench in things. So maybe we need to find a Kozilek's command or a grinding station. Seems like both of those are somewhat clean outs. Assuming my opponent doesn't have a bolt here, all would be kind of lost. Thankfully, it seems like they don't have a bolt. Do they have a second Bowmaster if they're willing to attack with their 2/1 Ragavan into my 3/3 Precursor? Also, last turn my opponent chose to exile a card in the yard instead of to loot. So, I mean, that kind of signifies their hand is good. Oh my gosh. This is why they attacked, because of the Bowmaster killing my Precursor, duh. I was a bit too preoccupied with, like, having another Scion for next turn. Kind of a big punt. The cattle, can't really ask for anything better than that, though. Bauble is also kind of insane. So we can go Fleshraker into Bauble, make a token, cast the Precursor, play Vista, crack Vista, trigger Precursor, trigger Fleshraker, play Star, trigger both of these, or trigger one of these. And then we're gonna have a lot of blockers in play for the Kavu. They didn't have a bolt last turn. They have seen a couple new cards. I think it does kind of feel like they have a stubborn denial. I don't know how easy that's going to be to beat in this game. Opponent's Magic Online still seems to be lagging for them. So do I want second red? I only have one more copy of Underworld Breach in my deck, so it seems a bit more likely I chain some cantrips together, so I'll get my second forest. This triggering off fetch lands is pretty cool too. I'm so happy to finally be playing this card. I've been tinkering with it for months at this point. Now, we can't. Can we kill our opponent here? I guess I should do some due diligence and see if that's the case. Because I can cast this Underworld Breach, and I can replay the Bauble, like, let's say 3 times. Each time I replay the Bauble, it's worth 2 damage because I sack it, triggering the Precursor. I think I'm going to go with no as my answer to playing this, mostly because I think my opponent has a stubborn denial. A little bit less so than I think it's impossible to kill here. Kill seems easy. Well, because the Bowmaster makes it not easy. It would be very trivial were there no Bowmaster and were there no likely stubborn denial. I think it's very likely they have a stub though. So I think I upkeep crack Bauble. How do you beat the stub though? We draw well. And potentially just ping our opponent to death. Really want to see no removal spell with this Bauble. Okay, that could unlock a Flage, but then that would tap them out of stub. The longer you wait, the more likely a stub becomes. I mean, I feel like I can afford. I should pass the turn and not play Breach this turn. Like, to me this seems like almost just very clear. I would try to shell Burgi, Breach, Bowmaster, Inquiry, Moxamber. Burgi's not a playable modern card. That's also just like so many pieces. And worse than Ruby Storm. Okay, untap Sacred Foundry. 2 cards in their hand after that. But it's down to 16 minutes on the clock. Exiles the Bauble, which could be a problem. This is a reason to have not cracked the Bauble. I think we'll probably be okay. Do they have a binding potentially? Is their hand binding stub? Kind of hard to read into these pauses when their Magic Online just isn't working. Oh, I thought about Breach with the sack outlet for your Zubaira thing. I'm too dumb to think of an idea. The sack outlet would be Warren Soul Trader, which unfortunately doesn't come back with the card that brings back all your 2-drops. Now that's a draw. My opponent targets me with the Bowmaster. I am dead to 2 burn spells as their last cards. I guess that would be so anticlimactic. I would love to draw any colorless spell. And I guess we have this extra draw too because of the Bauble. That's not a colorless spell, but it does give me a spawn token off the Precursor, and I have one more draw, obviously, too. Okay. So let's get started. I'm going to cast Fleshraker first and foremost. And then they only have 1 blue mana, so they can't stub my Rumble and my Breach. My opponent is down to 6 off of this trigger. This puts them to 4. The Rumble resolving puts them to 2. If you count the Beast and Rumble puts them to 2. So if I hit any colorless spell here, this is going to kill them even if they have stub. I did hit the Bauble. The Bauble is even extra damage because of the Precursor. Should use your spawns instead of green mana. Maybe I might want to use these spawns to block with. I don't need the extra green mana. There's actually no. I can't find Stirrings or Rumble off of Rumble, so I actually do think it's better to do it like this. Might be missing something. But my opponent has a bunch of creatures I'm interested in potentially chump blocking. It's GG? Yeah, you're dead. What do you mean it's GG? Yeah, yes, it's GG. Let's go. My opponent's shocked in that Sacred Foundry. I think they had stub. I don't know what that other card was. Don't know what that other card was. Okay, so we're up a game against Domain Zoo. Yeah, you can filter mana. And again, there's just I don't think there's any hit off Rumble that like we really care about. I want more than 0 Haywire Mites for their Leyline Bindings. They also block Ragavan. And I think I would like exactly 1 copy of Veil of Summer. So with these added, I think I'd like to cut the Mystic Forge, the Grinding Station, and a Sphere. Click Submit. Bluffing Flage. Well, Flage isn't a great card to bluff because I'm like Fury doesn't have Flash. Hello, Red Knight. This deck has been really, really cool. I'm glad I finally like took so long to get this one in a playable state. Like just months and months and months and months and months. Okay. Give this one a go. Opponent is thinking about their 7-card hand. Third Might could be correct, I'm not sure. Looks fun, it can kill out of nowhere scale style. Yeah, that's kind of the exact idea, is that, like, I took a lot of inspiration from the Brood scale decks, where if you just have 2 Fleshrakers, like, you just kill out of nowhere. But this deck kind of gets to play 8 Fleshrakers with the Precursors. Typically, if you're going to cycle one of these, it's better to cycle this, because you can sack the stars to Grinding Station, although we boarded out a Grinding Station, so... or we're down to 1 Grinding Station. Alright. But I did keep 7. I'm going to sack this for... I was thinking I was going to sack it for red, and I drew this. Now I think I'm just going to Rumble, so I can try to chain some of this stuff together next turn. Let's go and take the Bauble to go with the Fleshraker. Thoughts about playing Tormod's Crypt? I think that the Soul Guide Lanterns we're playing are better than the Crypts, because if you're going to... They both sack and they trigger Precursor, right? But Lantern can trips, which is good when you're trying to churn through your deck. Yeah, I guess it's kind of the same for me to sack and response for sack now, because like they just end up with 1 Orcish Bowmaster token, huh? Bowmaster is very good against us. There aren't like that many bowmasters in the meta, but there's enough that this is a problem for sure. Do you think this deck could play another couple colorless utility lands because you have so many green red sources, including spheres? I'm really interested in casting Ancient Stirrings on turn one. It does not seem like chatters are very interested in doing that, but for me, that's a big priority. They have a consign. Just a bolt, I guess. Saturnation. Don't think I'm saying your username correctly, but thank you for the 8-month resub. Appreciate you. Our color requirements are like pretty high in this deck. I don't know if it maybe just doesn't seem like that's the case, but we do have some pretty strict color requirements here. Like we have turn 2 red mana because you want to be able to cast Precursor turn 2 off Temple, and you're casting off Temple, so you really need to have those red sources. Like we just have like 8 green or red cards we want to cast on turn 1 or turn 2. This means you have to pay a lot of green and red sources in a deck with 5 colorless cards already. So like I think like we just have to play 16 colored sources here if we're not going to play any more lands. Interested in Seed of Hope? I don't think I'm that interested in Seed of Hope. I'll say this: I've been working on this deck for months. The only real question mark I had coming into today was is it going to be correct to play the 3rd grinding station or not? And if it isn't, what should we play over the 3rd grinding station? And cutting the 3rd grinding station for the Mystic Forge in the main feels really good to me. So as far as the main deck goes, I am loving this main deck, and I'm not like super interested in big drastic changes right at the moment. Yeah, so they're going to... Let's see if they bowmaster my spawn, we'll sack the spawn to cycle the star, probably. Waste is not a very good draw. Okay, they don't target the spawn, so we can just take our draw step. We found a Precursor. Kind of painful. This does trigger the Precursor, too. I haven't seen any KCIs in a while. I'm going to block the Orc Army. Blocking it is bad if they have second Bowmaster. I can't beat second Bowmaster anyways. Oh, come on. Come on. You want to attack with this. Alright. I will go ahead and sack this, kill the Leyline before they hit me with the Scion, so that way I'm not dead to bolt this turn. Does this deck usually win Fleshraker pings? I'm assuming you meant to write the word win in between, or wins in between usually and win. And that is the main win condition of the deck, yes. We did win one game once they were surgical with Precursor beatdowns today. A Ghost Vacuum, that's okay. Can beat a Ghost Vacuum. We're going to have to beat their stuff this turn, though, since these stars become dead once they hit me once more with the Scion. Now, the Bowmaster is obviously going to be a big problem. They're also gaining a bunch of life. Should it be more safe if you block with Might and Sack? Well, I'm interested in killing their 2/2. The only thing I'm playing around by blocking with Might and Sacking is second Bowmaster. And like I said when I made the block, I'm not beating second Bowmaster this game. That's not going to happen. So there's just no point in playing around it if I don't think I can beat it. Okay, they ping me. We find a Fleshraker or another sphere. I guess I'm going to take the Fleshraker. I did not see Doom's Case of the Crimson Pulse deck. But that's the one that if your hand's empty, you get to draw a bunch of cards. That's a card I kind of considered playing with, but never got around to. My opponent also may have clock issues going into game 3 with maybe 7 or 6 on their clock. My opponent says misclicked. I don't know what they're talking about. They mean to consign the Fleshraker, maybe? That seems to be the case. We do have one more star. Don't know if this we have really outs with the star, though, on account of this whole Scion of Draco situation. Is one main deck grab shot crazy? Alt win con kills Bowmaster can be decent against energy. It's not crazy, but I'll say this: I really don't understand how every suggestion for this deck is only a card that wins the game when you are storming off, and I just keep saying this is not something I'm interested in. So it's just kind of tough. It's kind of tough. Okay, let's run it back. Game 3 on the play. It's not crazy. I wouldn't play it, I think. But maybe it could be good for the energy matchup. I'm gonna keep this hand. Just trying to think, I think I'll play the Sphere on turn 1. I might even just cycle it turn 2 to be a bit better against Bowmaster. I do have a ley line. Kept a 7-card hand. I suggest DRC got ignored. I mean, you didn't get ignored. We've been talking about DRC. DRC could be good in this deck. I think one Fable over Forge might be good. I mean, maybe. I don't think Fable is very good in Modern anymore. Yeah, we've also been talking a little bit about Seed of Hope. I'm not the biggest Seed of Hope fan in this deck, but you know, there are some suggestions. You're right. Okay. I think I grab Waste so I could K command the Ragavan next turn. I'm most surprised that Breach deck is never favorite Mishra land Woodland. I mean, it's mostly a tap land in this deck. I don't think it's something I want to play. It's okay. I'll say this. I at the moment am very happy with this deck's main deck. It's possible we'll want to make some changes and some iterations. I'm very happy. I've spent a long time on this list. I want to play it as is for a little bit. I would be more interested in sideboard changes, if anything. They exile a Haywire Mite here. 4 cards in their hand. 6 minutes on the clock. And they cast it, which is unfortunately correct. Now I think that I should go Fleshraker into 2 tokens here because I can make more tokens off my precursor next turn by just saving these to sack, which I think also makes sense because I have a lot of action in my hand and I don't want to trigger the Bowmaster. Idol of the False Gods. I thought about Idol of the False Gods actually. Pretty cool thought. Okay, let's take this hit. Eldrazi Temple exiled, and they pass the turn. No, I can't. I guess I can go Precursor into Fleshraker if I sack a Bauble. Which I do think I want to do because they have my Haywire Mite up against this Breach. Corrado with the 3 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Yeah, we haven't drawn the Forge yet. I cited it out against Domain Zoo, which I think makes some sense. Hopefully they don't shuffle that away. It's really Reagan with the 7. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Yeah, not drawing a K command the whole match against Zoo is not a great place to be. Taking the hit. Hit an Underworld Breach. They can maybe breach the bolt if they crack all their fetch lands. Their hand is Leyline, 2 mystery cards. And they're going to have still the treasure token up probably for the Haywire Mite. Three minutes 30 on their clock. Bolt the Fleshraker, 3 cards in hand. One of them is a Leyline. We'll see what they're drawing next turn. Kavu. Just so unfortunate that we have not drawn a command, and unfortunate that... A lot's unfortunate here. This Haywire Mite is just big problem. I'm kind of hoping to find my own Haywire Mite. Okay, we have successfully found the K command. So my opponent's playing Kavu next turn. What's my plan here? So one thing is, I think I kind of want to exile Haywire Mite. Yeah, that is my Haywire Mite. I also kind of want to Stirrings and look for my own Mite. And then potentially K command next turn when I have this Fleshraker in play. So I think I can just do that, and if I miss, K command the Mite. Okay, another K command. Seems like that'll be the grab here. So their hand is going to be Kavu, Leyline, 2 mystery cards. Kind of weak to... This only loses the stub. Yeah, I mean, they could have stub. They could have consign. We know their top card isn't one of those cards, though. They have Flames. They're playing this Kavu. Three, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm getting some lag. Take the hit. Exiles my 1 of Grinding Station, which is a pretty important one. I draw Grove of the Burnwillows for turn. So if I Ancient Stirrings for Haywire Mite, Haywire Mite the Binding, I go up to 5. Then I could also Kozilek's Command the Orc Army for 0. And I could potentially live. Also, maybe I could just go like this turn, exile Haywire Mite, make 3 spawns, chump block Kavu, chump block Ragavan, chump block Orc Army, go to 2. Then next turn, I could try to win with Underworld Breach, but I don't know exactly how easy that would be to do. It'd be a lot easier if I had that Fleshraker in play. We know one of my opponent's 2 cards in hand is a Leyline. X can't be 0. X can be 0. Please subscribe. I teach you something, you gotta subscribe. So if I Stirrings and I brick on Haywire Mite, then yeah, it can. Look, I haven't even thought. It doesn't say X can't be 0 here. I've many times exiled a token, drawn a card. But let's get back to this. Okay, so if I Stirrings and I miss on Mite, am I just dead? I can exile Mite, block 2 things. I am just dead. I have 2 Mites left in my deck, right? Let me just double check how many I brought in. I think I brought in 3 of the 4. So I have 2 Mites at the top 35. Let's get out the calculator. Qui-Gon with the 2 months. Thank you so much. And thank you for subscribing. Learn something, gotta subscribe. Okay, so we have a population size of 35, a sample size of 5. We have 2 Haywire Mites in the deck, and we need to see 1. So we're only 26% to hit. I would have thought it would have been higher than that. I guess I just believe in the Stirrings a bit too much, but this seems like a mathematical make 3 spawns, exile the Haywire Mite, and attempt to win the game somehow with this Breach next turn. Wrestle bottom 4 bricks. Okay, so a bit higher than I still. We're just still way too far off to go for the Stirrings. Yeah, opponents should have plenty of time to finish, unless they get like really stuck, but they probably won't. Your turn. Then to a removal spell. We know one of our opponent's hands again is a Leyline of the Guild Pact. We're dead to a Scion because they have another Leyline of the Guild Pact in play. So fortunate. Let's see if we would have hit on the Haywire Mite. Would have bricked. Okay. Tough game. That might hit off the Ragavan was pretty tough. Don't we die to Binding on spawn? Yes. What line did you want to take? You know what I mean? We were in a very tough spot. So the play against a Gigantha, probably Boros Synergy. I'm gonna keep this one with double stirrings. Temple would be nice. Right, gotta take the Temple here. Second Temple. Do I just play a Precursor? I think I'm just gonna play a Precursor. See what happens. Should check out Kozilek based on what I know you might do to him. I mean, I can't. I gotta give you a little bit more than that. I guess I'm also not really looking for any more content to consume. I consume too much as it is. So what does this attack mean? Galvanic Discharge, and they want to discharge for one less energy. Can it mean anything else? Could it be a bluff? Not really bluffing anything. Oh, it could be Thraben Charm. Yeah, or not block. Thraben Charm would deal 2 damage. And then a lot of Lister main decking the Thraben Charms. Okay, so I think what we do this turn is I just played 3 stars. The next turn I can pop off a bit. They Blood Moon me, it'll be a bit awkward. Bit awkward. Because now I can't Precursor and then start casting stuff. Or start cycling stuff, rather. That's a good pickup, though. So if I play this Grinding Station out now, I'm kind of exposing myself to Static Prison. Although I could just sack it to itself. Next turn, Precursor, +1 mana off the star. Yeah, I need to cast it now. The main draw of Precursors, it cycles Stars and Spheres for free. Yeah, and then Baubles are like extra mana, and then it's also good with Fleshraker because it makes a bunch of tokens. It's good at multiples, like Fleshraker is good at multiples. You can have any combination of them. It also, like, with your Grinding Station loops, it triggers off Vista is a little bit of an extra thing. Okay, they bricked on the Raptor, they hit a ring. Does a lot. Well, that's a bona fide problem. But it hasn't killed my Precursor yet. Yeah, so with only 1 spawn mana here, we are not going to be able to finish our loop. I might as well play the star again, and I might as well sack the star and see if I find a Bauble to draw a bunch more cards. No Bauble in the top half of the deck. All right, pass turn. Tough stuff. Should sack here. We're just pretty dead. I think. Yeah, energy is crazy deck. I'm gonna bring in the quad Haywire Mite for this matchup. Was something I was planning on doing. I think I'm gonna go ahead and trim the Mystic Forge. I want to keep the grinding stations in though. Forge seems a little slow. I think we could probably go like -sphere, trim of stirrings, click submit for the best. Why not grinding myself? In response to the static prison, because we're dead. If I did grinding station myself though on the turn where we had some life though. I think. Yeah, the Turbo Yogg deck was pretty cool, Zach. Put it in the tank here on revealing Giganta. How's everybody doing today? Any decks to look at maybe? Okay. We're in there. Okay, kind of a nice hand. I'd like to hold the Bauble to trigger the Fleshraker. At least for one turn. I may if I don't draw a land, maybe I'll run it out. We did draw the land. Do I want to look at your CEDH deck? No, thank you. No, thank you. Make a very aggressive start here. I get Forest. I might need to sack the Bauble to deck to get the cards in the yard, so we'll just wait on the Bauble crack here. Working on a mono red mid-range deck and standard, I've been finding a lot more interesting in the black base mid-range decks with the bonus of dumpstering demon decks. I'm 10-1 on Arena, best of 3 letters. Sure. Looks pretty fun. This card being main deckable is interesting. I don't know if... oh, wow. No removal. We're not randomly dead, are we? I don't think so. We're at 18 life. So it looks like we're taking game 2. Prime with the 21 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Yeah, so I think I'm probably just sacking these to grinding station. But it should be a pretty easy win at this point. Maybe I should have sacked the sphere end of turn. Could also just play this Mite and sack the Mite, fill up the yard a bit more. I think I'll actually just go ahead and... Ooh. Yeah, they do have 48 life on turn 3. Gosh, this energy deck is just so disgusting sometimes. We are winning this game, so maybe I shouldn't complain too much. We might need the third Fleshraker though to like to actually make this super deterministic, or like it should. I think it'll be fine without casting the third Fleshraker, but we can cast the third Fleshraker just to make sure. So I should also auto yield to these. Could also play a precursor off of a star, maybe. Although I'd have to sack it for a card instead of milling, which is a bit awkward. So I do think I guess I do just wait to mill another Fleshraker. Although I wonder what happens if I don't mill another Fleshraker. I'm dealing 4 damage for each Bauble. I get to do that 10 more times. Okay, don't actually need to worry about anything then. I'm also eventually going to find a Kozilek's command, which could be a big finisher. All right, come on. I think they're going to scoop to this Kozilek's command too, for whatever that's worth. Can we win, or are we decking out? Yeah, Glaring Fleshraker is dealing them 4 damage every time we cast a colorless spell. We can win. This game is over. We have won. My opponent just doesn't know it yet. Instead of Bauble, I don't know. Never mind. Found the command. Yeah, this game's over, y'all. It's okay. I know everybody gets very antsy during the combo turns. Yeah, okay. They're like, oh, now I'm dead. Okay, game 3 on the draw. Gonna be a tough one. Let's click submit. Isn't it good to always just to grinding? You could always just to grinding, yeah. I mean, we win the game. We can take our time a little bit. Could also be playing the Mite to gain extra life and deal extra damage. Yeah, that's true. The Mite is 2 extra damage. And also gains us the life. Not that the life matters. Dino's about to complete the God Run 3 on Solo 1. Is he? I thought he got hit in game 6 yesterday. How is he already making another big run? He's on game 3, but that's game 3 is still very good at the end of game 3. Okay, so we're on the draw with a hand that is probably going to be a mulligan. Try this one out. Precursor on top. I think I'm going to go ahead and shuffle away the Precursor. I get a basic forest so I can Mite Blood Moon, I think. No turn, no 1-mana creature, obviously. I'll just gives us so much time too. Okay, I was thinking I want Temple to make a big Kozilek's command to set up for a turn 4 combo, and I did find the Temple, so doesn't seem like I should take second Breach. Seems like I can take 3 kind of comfy. My opponent has 6 cards in their hand. Amped Raptor with no energy floating. They hit a Lightning Bolt, which is one of their better hits because it flips the Ajani. They decide instead to kill my token. Can't be too upset about that. I found a Glaring Fleshraker here, so yeah, I think I just want to hold up the command and then try to go off at once next turn. Taking 5 down to 11. Opponent is passing, presumably with removal up. I think I'm still scry drawing. Bit scared of the Raven Charm. Might as well leave an Eldrazi mana floating here. So I guess to play around Raven Charm, exiling my graveyard. I'm going to cast Underworld Breach, and then I'm just going to start... I can start casting Bauble. Oh, but they can just kill the the stupid Breach with the Charm. Okay, thankfully, you can always count on your Boros opponent to not sit and think out a situation. The one thing that will save this league. We're not so we get to draw a card every time we do this here. So we do need to eventually find a Bauble if we want to cast the second Fleshraker. Okay, we found the Bauble really quick too. It's pretty nice. Yeah, the 3 modes to choose, they chose the worst one. Okay, well, would we have lost that game to an energy player who chose a better mode on Charm? There's a good chance we would have, yeah. Would have still been a game. Okay, I've clicked the keep button. Up against the basic island. Wait, our second mill opponent of the day? Come on. We got destroyed by them earlier. I'm going to take the second Fleshraker, I think. They don't have that much removal, and maybe it's a bit harder for them to surgical if there's like less in the deck for them to mill over. Maybe missed earlier stream. How does that line win? So this maybe would explain why everyone is asking about bombardment and this kind of stuff. Glaring Fleshraker deals damage every time a colorless creature enters. It doesn't only make a spawn whenever you make a colorless spell. It also deals the damage every time a colorless creature enters. So every time you cast a spell with 2 Fleshrakers in play, you make a spawn and it deals 4 damage. Or you make 2 spawns and each deal 2 damage. Doesn't look like they have a Fatal Push in their hand. Why no Emrakul the board? I mean, Emrakul is really bad because we're trying to keep the cards in our graveyard. But this is our second mill opponent of the day. We won game 1 last time. We'll see if we can win game 1 again. They're gonna Tasha's me. They do Tasha's me. I have 32 cards in my deck right now. Now I only have 12 cards in my deck. So I'm probably gonna need to win the game of this turn. Not sure if I can win the game this turn. Maybe. It's going to be close. I have to keep getting kind of lucky here. They're at 10 right now. I guess I actually only need 1 more colorless spell. So maybe I'm feeling okay. The Rumble does it, doesn't it? Because the Rumble is exactly 2 damage. Because it makes a spawn. Amarasu with the 2 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Fleshraker is really, really freaking broken in multiples. It's just like, kind of the whole idea of also playing Precursor. Okay, so we're up a game against Mill. Last time I played this matchup, I cut my grinding stations, which I had 3, and then I brought in the Veils and played 61 post board. I think I like that plan. Let's run it back. How did y'all go? We 3-2 to League, but I don't know. I feel like it felt like a good direction to take Yogg, and Yogg didn't necessarily seem to great. What have we been playing today? This has been the only deck we've been playing today, and it's been pretty sick, I think. Might play some of the Sire of 7 Deaths deck after this league. Depends on what time I have to pick up the dogs from the vet. I'll ask Esther after this league if they're ready. Probably be fine. Getting a vaccination, everybody's okay. Seeing how powerful Fleshraker is, have you thought about any other shells to put it in? Yeah. I've been working on shells like this for months, and this is just like finally the first one that's been like really good off stream, or like good enough for the league off stream. But I've been working. The thing with Fleshraker is, the big problem, of course, is that Fleshraker is really good when you have a very low mana curve with lots of colorless cards. That's really when the card shines. Now, your Eldrazi decks normally, they want to play very high mana curves, and they usually want to play one big spell a turn. And Fleshraker isn't very good when you're only playing one big spell a turn. So, like, there's kind of this built-in tension with all the Eldrazi cards. And, like, why Fleshraker looks crazy in this deck is, like, you get, like, extra effects like this with your processor that also work with the stars and the spheres. And so you get that multiples in play effect, and it's really nice. But you're only getting this effect, and it's only looking so good because our curve is really low, and because we're not building a more traditional Eldrazi synergy. So there aren't going to be like a ton of shells that meet these requirements, but the fact that there seems to be like this in the Brood Scale build is nice. But Mockingbird, Phantasmal, Fleshraker. This is not a good plan, I think. It's very fragile. Your Mockingbirds and your Phantasmal images will not be good unless there's a Fleshraker in play. I did have an affinity build, that was playing Phyrexian Metamorph instead, where that was something you could cast off your Mystic Forge, and it was something that could copy your opponent's rings. So that was like, it had a bit more utility, I think. But this is something we've done, and this shell has been like very fun and very explosive sometimes, and like I like this deck, but I kind of have always failed to have a winning record with it. But I think it's kind of cool that your deck is like, you have Ugin's Lab, Phyrexian Tower, Springleaf Drum, Mindstone. Like a combination of two of these lets you play Ring or Mystic Forge on turn 2, and then eventually pop off. Okay, tosses me down to 37 cards in my library. Any other aggro shells? Value Fleshraker is the top end of a colorless aggro deck. Again, like the problem is, it's like it would have to be yes, and yes here, I suppose. Fleshraker is good. We'll keep thinking about the card. Can we put Traverse in this deck if we want more copies of Fleshraker? I mean, maybe. We have 4 Stirrings and 4 Rumble, and Traverse is not historically a very good card. Okay, well, it's fine, I guess. If that's what they want to use Surgical on. Rewarded for the draw step. How did the Simic Woodlands perform yesterday? It was good. We 4-1 to League. I'm not sure if I want to play that deck in the challenge tomorrow, or if I want to play the Esper Goryo's Tamio deck or Cure deck. But I want to play one of those two tomorrow. Probably the Simic build. Someone pointed out Fleshraker is basically a mantis shrimp, huh? Does look like a mantis shrimp. I'm kind of tempted to make red so I could draw a precursor and cast it this turn. I'm kind of tempted to make red so I could draw a precursor and cast it this turn. I have more green cards, but the red is like a higher payoff, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think the red aggro Eldrazi decks are missing like 1 or 2 good cards to like actually make the deck functional. Like Linebreaker is just not that good, and it's your main payoff. And so like I have been kind of thinking about Precursor plus Linebreaker in a more Eldrazi aggro deck. But like there's only It That Heralds the End as a playable 2-mana Eldrazi. Eldrazi Mimic isn't good in these kind of decks, and so you just don't have the low. You don't have like the cheap creatures or cheap interaction in your aggro deck. Couldn't you have looked first with Bauble? Yeah, but then the problem is I want to save the Baubles, because if I draw Precursor, I want to sack the Baubles to make more spawns and deal more damage. That was the kind of the idea. All right, I think Natasha's me again. I only have 30 cards in my deck. They Fatal Push into Tasha's. Gross. I do have a Breach in my hand, though. I have 8. Now I have 8 cards left in my deck. So, I guess we Stirrings first. Take command. Seems like we're going to be a little short. Not more than a little short. But I thought we could cast 2 spells here. Okay. Let's go. Pass the turn. DRC Bauble, other cards is playing. No Lab, 4 Temples, K Command, a Pseudo Fireball. I mean, DRC is kind of cool. I agree. This seems like something you could do, like mono red breach aggro with all of these cards. Seems like there could be something to this thought. Okay, doesn't look like a winning deck in there. Scooping to a push. Okay, game 3. On the play for game 3. Our second mill opponent of the day. Does Precursor function as extra half copies of Fleshraker? I mean, yeah. That's the idea. Yeah, I could try like mono red DRC build of this deck. Like just an aggro build. I kind of hate mulliganing a hand like this against mill, but I think it is a mulligan. Just close. You don't add sideboard cards to beef up the library. I'm up to 61. How many cards do you think you should add? I usually am comfortable boarding up to 63 when it comes to mill. I feel like any more than that, I'm diluting my ratio of lands and spells a bit too much. And I only do it also if I feel like I have good cards to bring in. Kind of simply, I don't want to have bricks in my deck if I can help it. We're at 61 right now. Mystic Forge helps with Tasha's. That's true. It's also kind of slow. Is Precursor feeling like it adds a good bit of something helpful to the deck, or is it the first card to go for testing other stuff? I think Precursor is very good. It's for me. It's a big part of why we're even here today, playing this deck list. Like for me, Precursor has been feeling like this kind of secret card I've been sitting on, a card that has tons of potential that I haven't seen anybody play. You know, I think it's not as good as Fleshraker, but Fleshraker is very broken, but it's doing a pretty similar thing, and it complements the Fleshraker plan really well. Is Molten Gatekeeper potentially useful in this deck? Not in this deck, but in a different build potentially. So sad we didn't play the Breach last year. Okay, great. Never mind. Never mind. Great. And they missed their land drop. Okay, so we get to play our Vista, make 2 spawns. Does have some upsides over Fleshraker. It's also, 3/3 menace. Been kind of relevant today. All right, let's Veil of or sorry, Ancient Stirrings. There's our Fleshraker. Then we got a K command. If we need more colored mana, we can get it with the star after we cycle here. The star is kind of exactly what we want to see. Two spawns, 2 damage. I'm pretty sure we're just supposed to K commanding. Oh wow, okay, they're just super dead now. Maybe they've been super dead, but no, they're super duper dead. It's the GG's to you too. Okay, 2-1, I'll take it. It was a bit bad to lose the first match of both leagues. I do think Domain Zoo is a particularly bad matchup, as it is for like a lot of combo decks, and Mill was a bad matchup, so I'll take 1 win against Mill, 1 loss against Mill. I was struggling with Brood Scale against you. Yeah, it seems like it's just not going to be a good matchup for this kind of deck. Brood Scale is living in a pretty similar space as this one. A little bit of Magic Online lag here. Neither. Oh. Okay, now their clock is ticking down. Yeah, beautiful hand. Can Brood Scale combine with this deck somehow? Is it too much? I think as soon as you add Brood Scale, like your precursors become not good. So like I think either you're playing Breach combo with Precursor and all these stars and spheres and baubles, or you're playing Brood Scale combo with Blade. I don't think you can combine both decks together. Like there's not like a lot of room left here, I think. Because I think you have to play all the stars and the spheres and the baubles if you want to play this card and Breach, and I've been liking it so far. There was a little bit of lag. We're just gonna type test here. Okay. Can I combine Imri and Paradox Engine with Precursor? I generally do not recommend Imri Paradox Engine as a deck. That probably won't stop you, but it also doesn't seem like Paradox Engine and Precursor goes well together, because this rewards you for sacking stars and spheres, and Paradox Engine rewards you for tapping mana rocks. I would have thought by now I would have figured out a Worn Power Stone Paradox Engine deck, but I have not still. Okay, on the play against an Eldrazi build, we're just definitely slamming this guy. What are the cons to an Ugin's Lab or 2 in the deck? Well, the cons to an Ugin's Lab or 2 is that you have to play a bunch of 7-drops in your deck that you cannot really support. Hey, so you picking up the dogs, or I'm picking up the dogs?
Starbucks. Do you want anything?
Yeah, I'll take a chai tea. Yeah. Sorry, chai. It's just chai. Everyone wants Spider-Man. Everyone wants chai. Everyone wants Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. Okay. I'm gonna cast this next turn probably. Grab a Breach. Yeah, like you have to play a bunch of 7-drops, and like having really expensive cards in your mana is pretty tough. So I kind of hope my opponent plays a ring here, because winning through the ring is like really fun, where you set up for a gigantic Kozilek's command with multiple Fleshrakers in play. Unfortunately, it looks like they're going to like K-command my Precursor. Okay, they're just going to Myco-spawn me. So I have no red mana anymore. Interesting they went over at the red mana over the Breach. I guess they knew about the Breach. Okay, let's go ahead and just fetch a mountain first. Then our deck some, trigger the Precursor, make another spawn. Precursor is so cool. I'm like just so happy to finally be playing this card on stream. I've been dying to for so long. It just took so much time to get it to a good state. Yeah, it does seem like I should be holding the K command. So for me, like making a bunch of mana here and then sinking it into the big K command. You can still set up that kill if you want. Well, it'll just be a BM against an opponent who deserves better. Deserves respect. Could be better. I don't think it's better to be playing. Oh, is it better for me to play a Precursor into Baubles? The thing is, the spheres they cycle, which is a pretty big deal. But it could be better. I think I'm gonna go Precursor into Bauble here, and I can maybe go Bauble K command. I think both lines are going to be a dub, so I don't need to probably sweat too much. Did any other mana producing bugs get fixed along with Wall of Roots? Not that I know about. I think you can kill here if you just loop Rumble. Maybe. The thing is, Rumble requires green mana. I mean, I'm going to kill here. This is going to be a win, but Rumble requires green mana, so I can't just rumble. I have to like star first, and stars, I don't have a grinding station here. The grinding station might just not be important to the deck. There have been sometimes it's been nice to have some number. I guess I should maybe say I don't know how many copies you should play. Okay, but this is a lethal here. Once Magic Online catches up with my clicks, there we go. Choose target player? No, I did choose target player. It's just lagging. Yeah, I think you still want 2 stations. But it is just really nice that you just don't need grinding station to like just do your opponent like 40 damage. So let's bring in the mites. It might just be mite over sphere. I want to try that sideboard plan. I've been trimming, I think, the cantrips too many times. The cantrips are just nuts. I want to keep it in the Mystic Forge too. Does Precursor trigger off Breach sacking itself in step? Oh, I think it does. Wow. It also does. It triggered off Saga also. Earlier, Precursor triggered because our opponent Ulemogged and they attacked us with like Annihilator 7. We just sacked all our lands. We made a bunch of spawns. That's pretty cool. Could we trim 1 or 2 forests and play Wooded Foothills to have more free ways to trigger our boy? Okay, so right now we have 5 fetchables. So cutting forest and adding Wooded Foothills doesn't make sense. You could play at that point like Stomping Ground over Karplusan Forest, and then you would cut your vistas and play other normal fetch lands. But this would make your Kozilek's commands really hard to cast. It would make your Kozilek's commands really hard to cast. So I just don't think you have the option to do that. Oh, Karplusan Forest. I mean, you could, but I think you just kind of have to play this many color sources with Kozilek's command. We don't have Labyrinth in our deck. We only have Temple, so even like the Vista being able to grab Waste is important for Kozilek's command. Also like the Vistas, like there are like a lot of moons in the format, so this is nice. Is the advantage of this deck over Classic Breach to be able to have a decent aggro plan? Yeah. Like just having 8 of these is really crazy. Just when you have any combination of 2 of these in play, it's a ton of value. It gets really crazy, and you have 8 of them. So like this happens pretty consistently because you have also Stirrings and Rumble too. And so that is the advantage. You also get to play Kozilek's command, which is an insane card. That's, I think, the other advantage. We're also, brewing on the brew stream. You could try 2 rings over station as a test. Maybe. I mean, you could play, like, you cut the forge for rings at that point. I don't know if I'm necessarily that interested in just testing the ring in this deck, but ring is also, like, kind of bad if you don't draw Rumble, because you can't cast it till turn 4. I'm going to keep this on the draw against Eldrazi Ramp. Yeah, I don't think we've drawn the forge yet. We have been siding it out some. I think in this game, I just want to play the star, and then if I miss on my land, I'll just try to Stirrings for a land, and then hold this for the Precursor trigger. All right, there's a Talisman. We do miss on our land, which may cost us if they have a really fast draw. So I guess we take the Vista, so we can just play the Vista with the intention of, if we're drawing a red source, potentially playing Precursor, cracking it, getting an extra spawn. Turn 2 Raker, Temple the Bauble, turn 3 Ring. Okay, that's true. So we really want to draw the land so that we can kill the ring and play a Precursor this turn. I don't want to just play the ring, and I also don't want to get a forest. Fortunately, it seems like we have to get forest, try to Stirrings into a red, another green and red source potentially. Only a green source is so awkward here. But I have to kill the ring. I think I'm still holding the Bauble. Was halfling a consideration? I didn't think much about halfling, but that could be a direction to go. I'm glad y'all are excited about the deck. I'm glad y'all are working on it. No deck I've played recently on stream has had this much off stream or as much off stream work going into it as this one. This one took a long time. I'm pretty happy with where the main deck is right now. Kind of sad to have to take the mountain there. My opponent's also going to K command me, so like they may just K command into Emrakul and we'll be into game 3. Why wouldn't we take Karplusan off the Rumble? There was no Karplusan off the Rumble. You can see that there's no Karplusan in the graveyard, so I'm not sure. Maybe there's one off Stirrings, but I didn't see one off the Stirrings. My opponent should be dead next turn, should they not, Emrakul me or whatever. But something like Terrarian or Gilded Globe. Gilded Globe be a replacement of a grinding station. So I don't think you can play any of the ones that enter tabs because you need to be able to like chain them. That's Stirrings. I mean, if there was a Karplusan Forest off Stirrings, we should have taken it. I don't remember seeing one, and I was like actively looking for one too. I have no idea what's going on. Welcome to twitch.tv/AspiringSpike, where no one has any idea what's going on. Well, so Gilded Globe is a star, but it draws on ETB. I think the 2 mana is pretty awkward on this kind of card. I think the grinding stations are a good 2 of, but I do think they could potentially be something else. We took Vista over it for the upside of Precursor. Oh, I see. Yeah, Globe doesn't enter tabs, but the 2 mana is pretty awkward. Okay, so they Rumble. They hit a Devour. They hit nothing good, just Temple, Devourer, Sprawl. They can still Emrakul if they have an Emrakul, though. I think the grinding stations have been like good, but you just don't want to ever draw 2. So like I can't imagine that we would cut the second grinding station ever, but I think 2 is probably the right number. Okay, put Utopia Sprawl in hand instead of the Devourer or the Temple. Cast the Sprawl. I think Emrakul's castable. This is 5 types in the yard. 3 + 5 is 8. Yeah, it's exactly Emrakul mana, I think. I would love for them to cast the ring so I can try to do my convoluted loop. Did I run back the lookout deck ever? Not yet. I still want to. We might do it in between rounds of the challenge tomorrow. Might get to it next week. Okay, awesome. I have successfully gotten my wish. I guess I should have bobbled them. I'll bobble myself on the instep and get my spawn. So again, I'm excited about this because in order for me to kill through the ring, I can try to set up for a big Kozilek's command on their turn with multiple Fleshrakers in play, which sounds like a very fun thing to try to achieve. So let's start off and cast Underworld Breach, which just resolved. Okay, Raking the Flesh. Kind of gross. And they besage you in response. There's a star. Big draw. Yeah, grinding station is not going to do it. Good chance we're going to game 3. Nice besage you. I'll concede to an Emrakul. What? Okay, I didn't think it would be that Emrakul. Which I can weirdly beat this Emrakul. Oh wait, hold on, they might be dead. Hold on. They're dead. They're dead. This is 12 damage. Let's go. Wrong Emrakul, nerd. Let's go. This is, in my entire history of streaming, the best way I've ever won a game of Magic the Gathering. I have never, in my entire history of streaming, won a game of Magic the Gathering in a better way than this. This is too good. This is too good. Emrakul making me sack all my lands, 2 spawns for each land with a Fleshraker in play. You're dead. My opponent gives us the GG. Incredible. I don't even know how to screenshot this. It has to be a clip. Someone clip it. We'll put it on YouTube or something. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, almost conceded. Realized it just in time. Wow. Okay, hold on. They're not dead yet. Wow, though. Just... I mean, surely they don't have Kozilek's command now. Wait, what? Opponent, why would you do this to me? Is this a GG but not for me situation? Such a BM. It was a joke, lol. Just, what the fuck, dude. I'm not putting this in the YouTube clip, by the way. YouTube will think we won this game. Game 3. Why do they have multiple omnisciences in their deck? I don't know. The BM from opponent was actually well played. Well, it wasn't well played. They should have exiled the Fleshraker before they took 14. It was not an optimal play. It was just just a slow roll. I don't know. But we got the clip, so maybe it was okay. Maybe it was good that they did this to us. Because we did get the clip. Runs on a mold to 6. Were they dead to ring? No, they played another ring off their omniscience. I think this is our Mystic Forge game. Can play it turn 3. Any chance we had Grinding Station killed upkeep? No, they played another Emrakul. They were taking another turn there. Obviously, Fleshraker is a good draw. Yeah, I'll just grab the second copy here. It was actually opponent's clip the whole time, yeah. Okay, so this turns off Breach. We can play it play cards off the Forge. Nice little freebie there. Maybe I should have saved the Bauble for the Precursor trigger, actually. I also just kind of want to dig. Not really sure what's better. Alright, so let's exile our top card. I think we're gonna grumble and rumble. Just try to clear into something, potentially. Third Fleshraker is pretty nice. I think that especially with us being unable to Underworld Breach, having access to a bunch of these is pretty important. So I'm going to cast one here. Maybe my opponent will exile it with Kozilek's command, but then we have 2 more for next turn. Would an opponent be dead from Annihilator 6 and remaining 1 damage from sacking Precursor to Fleshraker? Well, my opponent killed my Fleshraker. That was the joke, right? Kill this and make spawn, so they've got kind of a made hand there that would... means 3 cards in their hand, now 4. I guess I want to leave green mana up to maybe Haywire Mite my opponent this turn. think I'm scry drawing instead of killing the jailer. It's just kind of too powerful with the forge. I think with the forge we don't care about the jailer as much. Okay. So it does seem like we're gonna have to untap another turn. I think I'm gonna rumble here. Is it better to take the third Fleshraker or the Bauble? The Bauble means that if I find another Bauble, I can play this another Fleshraker, but I only have one Bauble left in the deck after this one, so that doesn't seem that important. I should probably keep this Breach because I have Kozilek's command to kill the jailer. What has 3 Eldrazi Temples? I hope your hand is all Omniscience's opponent and 15 mana Emrakul's. Kodiak, 22 months. Thank you. Welcome back. The return of Eldrazi Winter has arrived, says Pockets. We'll see. Would 1/2 Gatekeeper Pinger helps play around Surgicals? I just don't think playing around Surgical is enough of a reason to play a bad card. Okay, they hit a Portent. Sorry, they can't hit. They put a Breeding Pool or Talisman into their hand. They put the Talisman. Then they play a different Talisman. And then they play a Stonebrain. What do they name with Stonebrain? Fleshraker? Breach? I don't really care if they name Fleshraker that much, because they're probably going to die. Maybe they name Kozilek's command to stop me from exiling the jailer. Could have an extra card and kept Star, second from top, and cast using Forge after Scry. Yeah, but I didn't want to... Yeah, we could have played a little differently. They do name Breach. Should be okay. With us having triple Fleshraker and a Precursor. I think our opponent was the hero all along. They did play with my emotions so much, though. I'll let them off the hook this time. The Forge has been great this game. Like, in this game where my opponent is just all sideboard cards against Breach, the Forge is kind of insane. My opponent says GG. I'm asking if this is a joke. Just a bit of banter. Let's keep this, I think. I guess it's a bit awkward if we hit Temple of Stirrings that we can't Precursor into Bauble on turn 2. I think we can just keep this on the play in the blind, though. We could play Sphere on turn 1. Does it make sense to play Sphere turn 1? If we play Sphere turn 1, we could Precursor turn 2 if we draw Temple. I think it's fine. I can just cast the Stirrings turn 2. Might get Thoughtseize or something, but... If I thought about Descendants Path Eldrazi, I was thinking Synergy Response Command. It's got Synergy for sure. Don't think it's probably something you want to do. Like, you just have to have an Emrakul on top of your library, and you can... I can set that up with... Maybe with Brain Surge. Maybe it's okay. It is pretty good with command. So I guess I'd make green. Okay. Easy find the temple. Is Idol the False Gods or Path of Annihilation anywhere close to modern playable capacity? I considered both for this deck. I decided to play neither. Also, my opponent went Hedge Maze Endurance in the yard. I guess this is Living End. So I'd like to save this for next turn, I think. Let's just go ahead and pass. Save this for the Precursor, maybe? We'll see. Might just be running into like Force of Negation on Breach into Living End. Rhinos maybe? I mean, maybe. I haven't seen Rhinos in like a long time. Okay, Living End confirmed. Just kind of feel like they have a Force of Negation with those pauses, which is a problem. Take the command and exile their yard. The land would be better if I had a land. So I think, so what I can do is I can play second Fleshraker, cast Bauble, make 2 spawns, cast a Breach, and then lose to Force of Negation into Living End. I don't know if I'm like gonna be that good against that no matter what. Outburst would be fine in this meta, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of times bans are less about like would a deck or build like be fine in a meta game, and they're more so about like removing like difficult and format warping play patterns from the format, and I think that's a big part of why Breach is no longer legal. I might be able to, if I draw like another cantrip or something, I can play this, sack 2 baubles. Okay, so if I play Precursor, I hit them for 6, and then I sack 2 baubles, which is 4 more damage. Oh, which is 2. Okay, so this plays plus the attack for 2. So this beats a Force of Negation, which is kind of nuts. Yeah, because each Bauble Crack is 2 damage, and we have 2 damage from the attack from the Fleshraker. Let's go. Always the best way to beat Living End. Kill them on turn 3. I want some Veil of Summers. 2 or 3, probably. It's got the Mystic Forge, got the Spheres. Let's just play 2. I wonder if like you just have a lot more turn 3 kills in this deck compared to regular Breach and like regular Brood Scale 2. Bit early to say. Should I play Blackness Arcanist or Jund Delirium tomorrow at FNM? Whichever one you want. It's FNM. It's just whichever one sounds more fun is always the answer. Next BNR is December 16th. So 3 weeks away-ish. Bit more. Who's counting? Let's keep this. Rumble's really good against them. I can find a Lantern and cast it on turn 2, or I can mill over some creatures. At December 16th at 2 p.m., who's counting? Graveyards of Riverwinder. Kind of surprised they thought that long about this. They might need a blue card for Force or something. That could be what that means, that tank. Okay, so definitely grab Temple and entomb the Fleshraker against the Living End here. And I think I should play the Star, so if they do Living End, I'll have used this mana. At the moment, I'm feeling pretty good if my opponent just Living Ends without Endurance. Just like my Fleshraker is kind of more powerful than End Riverwinder, Wraith Riverwinder. Although here, I think I'd like to hold up Kozilek's command. Card on top. Oh, someone the other day asked, if you're playing any blue deck, should you just have 4 consigns in the sideboard? We found the exception to the rule. The exception to the rule, Living End. As usual. Feeling pretty. I'm really happy this deck has been performing so well today. I've been just dying to play this card for a long time. Like I have a lot of cards like this that I really want to play, but I just kind of refuse to play them unless I have a good shell, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's go Scry 2 draw. Exile both River Winders. It's the first time anyone said that about Skittering Precursor. Maybe. I really like this card. I've liked it for a long time. I think I'm gonna bottom just the Rumble. I'm okay keeping one of the cantrips, but I don't think I have room in my heart for both. Okay, so that worked out kind of well. So let's go ahead and play Precursor. Maybe get Subtletied, maybe not. Does get Subtletied. They pitch a Force of Negation. They have 3 cards left in their hand after this. We make a spawn. I'm going to go ahead and play another one of these. Did I get Spell Pierced by once my 7 plays Cascade? That was Doomwake. And that card should not have been in the deck. So is it better to Rumble or to Stirrings? I mean, I mostly just want a Star or Sphere. Ooh, wow. Interesting. Okay, I said Star or Sphere. Maybe the answer is Lantern somehow. I think it's going to be Star. So make a green, make a spawn. Killing this turn will be kind of difficult, not after we got Subtletied, but the fact that it's even possible, I think, is pretty cool. I think they're going to force this. Oh, they just concede the match. Awesome. Man, this was a sweet league. This was a really sweet league. 7-3 with green-red Eldrazi through the breach, not... Sorry, Underworld Breach, not through the breach. Let's open our chests. Dang. Yeah, YO League. That was like that starting off with a loss kind of stank, but that was a super fun league. Okay, so Esther brought me some tea, so I do have enough in me for one more league at least. Let's see what we got. A Leyline Axe. I do want to play at least one more Leyline Axe league, but I want to figure something out. Okay, but let's do a little bit of a vibe. Okay, sorry, don't look at that one. Don't look.